Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to offer an interesting transmission that will allow some of you, at least, to gain more clarity on your spiritual path. Some of the followers have questions about learning spiritually, evolution, the process of evolution, the process of transmutation. How do all these things align? The process of being connected to that energy that represents the teacher, the guru, and about the guru-disciple relationship. Like, what are all these levels? First of all, we have to realize that our own higher being consciousness, to which we very often are not connected to or properly aligned with, is the guru, the ultimate guru. And that guru is the key to creation. Unfortunately, what we know of creation at this point is a limited spectrum of existence of which we are aware. And so when we speak about spiritual awakening, we speak about awakening to the higher frequency of this realm. And then we grow through this high frequency and becoming more aware, our spectrum, our range of awareness expanding with time. The more we let go of the heaviness of the karmic residue that has been accumulated through the bloodlines, through their interaction with this earthly realm, all these karmic connections, all these karmic information clusters, shadows, patterns, whichever way you wish to call them, which are weighing heavily over these bloodlines through which we came through here, and the genetic material which we're carrying. So all that has to be addressed, dissolved, transmuted in order to elevate. But if we speak in terms of guru-disciple relationship and how different levels of consciousness or consciousnesses grow, it will be different. The real teacher is like a beacon light. If it's an embodied teacher, the teacher is an eternal student who has understood and realized one main principle in creation, which is balance. And that teacher is doing all that work, transmuting the energies and balancing them out within so that their presence allows others to ascend spiritually. Real teachers who are more advanced, who have mastered the art of balancing within themselves, they aligned with a higher being through humility, spiritual intelligence, and surrender, are taught in a different way. Their consciousness is taught by higher being. This higher being is allowing them to observe very tough situations with only one purpose: to be able to navigate, to prove their mastery through the ability to transmute and return to the balance. Everything in this creation is about balance. And so true masters are the masters of balance, actually. So they are able to transmute, to resolve any imbalances, issues, neutralize imbalances within themselves and thus within their spectrum of activity or their surrounding, or even beyond their surrounding, depending on that level or the purpose of that master and their presence. Real masters do not operate through intent, even though their intent is extremely powerful. They operate through presence, Their presence alone is that which creates balance around them and in those people or beings who are connected to them, in those souls. A true teacher, if allowing anyone to connect to them, is taking a responsibility to transmute that energy, to face all that negativity or whatever circumstances, and transmute it so that their so-called disciples can actually ascend in a smoother way or realize what they're supposed to realize. So true masters are like a vessel of transmutation. They are capable of transmuting spiritual residue, emotional residue, mental residue. The higher you go, the tougher the lessons, the tougher, the more confusing, the harder the situations, the circumstances that you have to face, where you are to execute your mastery, where you are to exhibit that mastery, not for others, for yourself and the higher realm that is your teacher. These masters are also disciples, but they are not disciples of anything physical. They are disciples of the higher consciousness that throws tough lessons at them, confusing situations, different kind of traps, so that they can prove their mastery by being able to come out of the toughest traps by restoring their inner balance. And the more they prove that mastery by coming out of those traps and the tougher lessons, the more powerful they become in their presence too. The more they can actually influence humanity even beyond their discipleship, beyond their sphere of physical influence, because their presence alone becomes a beacon light to humanity. Now, these masters are truly silent. Very often they are not very known, or not known at all. They could just be there. Their presence alone creates a change. Whenever they observe imbalance, the balance comes there because their consciousness registered it. The higher consciousness is not the teacher of the physical nature. It's the consciousness that allows you to become more and more powerful as a spiritual entity. That's why the presence and the help and the guidance do not arrive this way as it would arrive when you are a teacher in a physical form and a disciple in a physical form. Because that is a more guarded way of teaching, a more, consistent way and a different level of teaching. When we speak about higher levels of teaching, the purpose is not to disempower, but to empower. And in order to empower, a being is thrown into different tough situations, and they have to figure it out. And only if there is such a situation they can't figure it out, then the help comes at the end. But at every point, surrender, humility, and intelligence are tested, not tested deliberately as we think of tests through our man-made reality and human context, but the test of energetic mastery, where we know that the balance is the primary law of creation, if you will, or the primary aspect to which we hold on and through which we ascend and expand our awareness. The more balance we achieve on different levels, the higher is our mastery, energetically, not by acknowledgement of anyone living or dead, but by the frequency that we emanate. Mastery is known by the frequency that we emanate, not by the way we look, not by the way we dress, not by our words, but by the weight that all of these carry behind the scenes. Now, in order to learn through a true teacher, one has to realize the higher frequency within oneself in order to recognize a teacher. One needs to have humility, which is very rare. That's why true teachers are hardly recognized and hardly known, because this frequency is very, very rare. And because we do not recognize it within us, we cannot follow it. We cannot ascend through it. We have not enough degree of humility and spiritual awareness. We do not have enough flexibility, which is a sign of mental health and balance. Nor we have enough of physical balance to contain such frequencies. And so we neglect that kind of frequency. We don't see it. We cannot appreciate it. And we just pass it by without acknowledging. And that is all right, because everyone learns on their own level. Some people, souls, require shepherds. Some souls need constant affirmation. Some souls need a reminder. Some souls have to have some kind of support, energetic or verbal and energetic, to return themselves to the balanced state. And so it all depends where you start, what you are aware of, and what you can become aware of. Without constant surrender, flexibility, letting go, and deep humility to creation and higher existence, there is no evolution. You may look at spirituality as certain highs and kicks and energetic, entertainment, but you are not going to evolve as a being, because to evolve as a spiritual being into a spiritual, autonomous, energetically entity, which is still a part of creation, to ascend in ranking, to master, means to align and balance, to align and balance, to align and balance, and this is the way to grow. Whatever is causing imbalance has to be recognized through the aligned state. And what is that aligned state? Is the state of meditation. If you project consumerism on true masters and teachers, their energy will push you onto a periphery. If you go into egotistical fits, it will be reflected back to you. If you challenge true masters, they will absorb your energy, transmute, and throw you to the periphery of creation, disempowered, broken, and destroyed. So the recommendation here is to humble down. This is the only spiritual advice I would give, whether asked or not, to anyone who wishes to ascend, to transmute, and to stay regenerating, to open their path to the real immortality, spiritual and also physical longevity. Because if you're hurting, if your physical body is not aligned with that higher awareness, you will be challenged. You will be continuously disturbed from within, because the emotional and mental aspects are not looked at the way they should be. That energy of ancestors is not transmuted. It's too hard. Once you're connected to the teacher is doing all that work. But you also have to do the work on some level, at least acknowledge, look at the patterns, release them, choose to let go, choose to change the pattern of behavior if you see that the old pattern hurts you and puts you into that egotistical trap. The real trap of life is limitations of the consciousness, when we just focus in a rigid way and we consider that the truth. In order to mentally heal, in order to heal emotionally and physically, we need to learn to be extremely flexible, neither to hold to anything, not to abandon completely. We need to flow, to be liquid in our state. That is a state of mastery. The flexibility. Neither denying nor pursuing, or pursuing when there is a need and withdrawing when there is no need. That's the art of masters. The art of being conscious power and being that energy in a projected way, whichever subtlety of that way, be it whether it's a mental, emotional subtlety, intellectual. Pure emotion is beautiful. You can observe all kinds of ideas and give them a niche without entertaining or pursuing any, because they're not a reflection of the truth. The reflection of the truth is the natural being, natural state of absorption, when you are aligned, conscious, vibrant, balanced. Balance is key to health, or it's a synonym of the word health. If you want to be healthy on any level, balance yourself, return yourself to that aligned state, yoga. Those who are in yoga truly are masters. As long as you're dealing with negative energies, you're giving them power, you forget about who you truly are. Or maybe you have never even awakened to that, who you truly are. In that state, you might need help. A presence, a reminder, but not a crutch. True teachers teach disciples by throwing them into difficult, challenging situations. But they are truly not throwing anyone, it's the consciousness itself that throws them and allows them to figure it out. Because when they figure it out and return to balance, they become stronger. If they return to balance only through someone's guidance and they cannot do it on their own, they become codependent and thus weak. They create an egoic connection to the teacher without understanding the essence. And yet we are to respect and be humble before that higher energy that teaches us through a real physical teacher, through their presence, through their consciousness, and even through their physical vehicle. Very few can realize that on a practical level. People can have moments, yet they're inconsistent. Today they realize, tomorrow they feel moody, after tomorrow they are selfish, after tomorrow they're angry. To be grounded means to be consistent. consistent in your efforts and attempt to keep on aligning and bringing yourself to the balanced state. When you're awakened, you become balanced, content. But people pay attention to the kriyas, to the movements, involuntary movements, to some other aspects of the external reality. It means they haven't established themselves at the essence, because kriyas and involuntary movements are the way of your body to tell you you're full of imbalances, parasitic energies of subtle and physical nature. Yes, you allow your body to do that, but don't emphasize that as a sign of spiritual advancement. Because the only sign of spiritual advancement and mastery is one's ability to balance and transmute, to alchemize. And the more you alchemize, the more you regenerate. It's so easy nowadays to use words, Siddha, enlightened, yogi. It's so easy to commercialize on it, to spread nonsense. True yogis, true masters are just by existing on this earth, create balance and enlighten others in silence. Sometimes they also offer an example through their physical vehicle, but to only very few ones. And sometimes they are the face of karma and karmic justice to cause balance in this reality. Yet they're free. Not in an anarchistic, irresponsible, egotistical way of human man-made reality. They're free in their self-expression. They're aligned. Their confidence comes from their humility and alignment. Their presence, their power is unbeatable by any egotistical attempt, because it's the truth. The truth, the word truth means alignment. They're aligned in a humble way with creation, and that drives them further. That creation itself opens up its secrets. It teaches them from within by also throwing them into more and more challenging situations so that they can find the way out by themselves. And finding that way, that passage to transmute karmic patterns, to transmute different corrupt aspects of this reality, distortions of this reality that we have accumulated for so many thousands of years, allows others to benefit from their presence. Sometimes it seems difficult because they have to carry that and be capable of transmuting. That's why they elevate. They don't elevate for pretty eyes. They don't elevate for someone's acknowledgement or even for service that they offer through their body. They elevate because of being capable of transmuting through their own body, carrying on their own bones, through their own blood, the pain of humanity, the karmic ancestral baggage of humanity. And the more there, or the higher the chance to transmute it, to find their way out, the more the humanity can advance through their presence. The more on the individual level, people can find a way out from their own ancestral traps, corruption, and distortions. And yet no one speaks about it because no one needs to know. Everyone has their own spiritual purpose. And true masters conceal their purpose because it can't be understood very well. The pain of humanity and human corruption cannot be understood. It can only be felt. And the only way is to transmute it or be destroyed by it. And these masters take this sort of mission to transmute it through their own bodies, experience all that ancestral pains, distortions, corruption through the ages, or all that has been accumulated over the ages, in order for humanity to get into the new cycle. This generation might not understand it. The cycles might not be felt because they're much larger, they're beyond the human lifespan, but they're real. And these cycles are vibrational expressions of creation, where the frequency is changing and trying to balance, but on a different timeline and different scales, which cannot be registered by any current human, because these cycles are beyond human existence, beyond humans' lifespan. The purpose of this transmission is to offer clarity, to offer anyone practical understanding of what the spiritual evolution is. It's not a romantic idea of spiritual joy or search for validation or a way you accumulate spiritual trophies, approvals from someone on earth. You create curriculum vitae for all your meetings with different gurus, your certificates. That doesn't matter. Who are you as a frequency, as an entity, as a presence matters. Who are you as a vibration, as consciousness matters. So look at spiritual evolution from this standpoint. The amount of pain you've survived and the amount of pain you've transmuted will define your spiritual rank and mastery to return back to balance. To be the emanation of that balance without desire to be recognized or acknowledged, without a need to prove, to show off, to be validated. True masters don't need validation. They're powerful in their humility. They're aligned with creation and its power, and yet projection doesn't validate them, or they don't need that validation of the projection because they remain in their essence, at their core, as their true self, beyond the projection. Those who glide along the surface and look for validation from the projected reality remain slaves to this projected reality, binding themselves in the name of false spirituality, in the name of ideologies and belief systems, to something that doesn't even matter on a spiritual level or any level or in a spiritual context. Waste of energy. If you don't embrace life, joy of life with a capital L from within, if you don't continuously choose life, which means balance and joy, you're dying slowly but surely. In a spiritual sense, you're either alive or you are dead. You're either vibrant and embracing and choosing this life from within every moment of your breath and existence, or you are giving yourself out to the projection and losing your energy. Learn to balance give and take. Become a master by awakening to who you truly are, and yet existing in this projection in a very balanced way, in a way where you enjoy and can return to that alignment and balance at any point, even while thrown to difficult situation, even while facing temporary traps or facing certain limitations, distortions, and corrupt patterns within yourself or within the collective. This is the only way to grow, the real way to grow. This is the real way to alchemize yourself. This is the real way to transmute from the mortal to the immortal. The more you stay in the aligned state, which is your natural being, the less you buy into concepts, spiritual concepts or whatever. The less you are dispersed and fragmented. The less you look at yourself in a divided way. DNA, cells, chakras, centers. No, a being. Once you restore this wholesomeness and you align with it and you operate through it, whether in more active state or in more passive state, that's where you can say that you've achieved first level of mastery, which is a foundation. Then you become eligible for higher teachings by teachers beyond this realm, by higher consciousness, which is a collective cluster of higher being, which doesn't need name, tag, form. It's a certain frequency. To learn from that or through that, you need to become eligible by frequency. Very powerful, but very humble. Very intelligent, but open to learn at any point and to let go of what you've already learned. Deeply loving. Love itself is the key, the foundation to higher learning. Not the ego, not the limitation, not the image you've built about yourself or around your body, or around your spiritual achievements and rituals or books you read. Vibration. And then, if you're eligible for higher learning, you'll be thrown into very tough situations so that you can learn and empower yourself through the higher assistance onto which you can't hold on like a crutch, but which is there, guiding, protecting, and yet allowing you to realize your personal lessons, then your collective lessons, and to free yourself from these lessons, from these genetic corruptions. And the more you refine your genetic material, the more you allow free those who are connected through this genetic material, the more they awaken, the more the humanity ascends on the collective level, the more you dissolve and transmute all these corrupt patterns through your own vehicle, through your own vessel, the further the humanity goes on a spiritual level or in a spiritual sense. And everything changes. Changes occur through dissolution and transmutation of limited patterns, which are energetic clusters. Remember, whatever you do or don't do on a spiritual level, in a spiritual sense, emotional sense, mental and physical, goes down to one thing. You're either dying or you are reviving and holding on to life. And the end result is all that matters. Always ask yourself, what is the end result in all that I've achieved and done? And if there's no change, then you must be doing something wrong. Wrong in terms of the change, the desirable change doesn't occur. And the only desirable change is balance. So change your approach. Realize that your spiritual transformation starts by focusing within and remaining there in an absorbed state. Absorption is not an achievement, but it's a tool that allows you to recognize limitations and to come out of these limitations and either self-imposed or some other circumstantial traps. And this is the way to learn, to look at the end result. Because when you see and acknowledge the end result, you come out of delusion and self-imposed ideas on supposedly achievements, supposedly spiritual growth. Always look at the end result. Many blessings to everyone, to all the well-wishers and supporters, to the new subscribers. You may offer your perspective. Comments are always appreciated. And from time to time, I'll select active commenters for a short one-on-one session for personal guidance. Thank you very much for your attention, and hopefully this helped you to gain some clarity and also come back to the aligned state so that you have that perception of the aligned state, yoga, absorption, meditation, all are synonyms, as a reference point. And so that you realize that this is the tool through which you keep on refining and transmuting further and further, ascending, through which you're humbling down and growing spiritual awareness and intelligence, expanding your heart and opening to creation, towards love, towards acceptance, towards flexibility and health, longevity, abundance, because that is the energy of creation. Thank you very much.